yesterday, and it's like, you know, in the regional stages, they would ban out the sins just to make sure that, you know, they didn't have to deal with it. But once we get to like the higher levels, people are just, you know what, yeah, pick your sins, we'll deal with it. But one team, they said, we're gonna pass. We're just gonna make sure that doesn't become an issue.
I think it's really interesting that they went for such a high priority Riven. I know that Kid really loves this pick, and I think it's his highest played champion here so far in the whole C champs. But Renekton being available for Noelle just gives you a lot of potential issues. If their top jungle synergy here is working well in tandem, then they can really shut down this Riven pick. They can stack waves, they can dive on you, and you really have little to no options other than hoping Xianyu comes to cover you. And I really do not like this, because if you're playing Riven into Renekton and your mid laner is playing cocky, he's never gonna get any priority, he's never gonna get to outpush. You're just gonna get camped. Like, your opponent mid lane jungle is gonna roam up. I want to see BRU put the Ziggs on a Kinemon, take a roaming mid laner, and just shut down this Riven.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you on some degree, but on the other hand, we've seen so many times teams just overthink it and try to, you know, pick something that screws over the opponent, and then they end up messing it up themselves, right? And I'm perfectly fine with Kid going with that comfort pick, going with that Riven, because he knows that he can perform on it. His team knows that he can perform on it. And, you know, even if they leave him on an island, as long as he doesn't get to completely ganked over in that over on that island over there, he should be fine. And I feel like they trust in his ability to warp the map over to that side. Once you have multiple members trying to go over to try to kill Riven, that means they get more opportunities on the other side.
Yeah, and they do have the Varus pairing there. Varus Trash is going to be very dominant in the bot side of the map too. So like you said, if they do commit a lot of resources to Kid, then they should be able to trade things on the opposite side of the map. With that said though, I think if Kinemon is on Ziggs, I think he's going to do very well to shut down potential aggressions in the bot lane. And I want to go back to Kid, right? Because this guy's Riven, it's frankly insane. If he gets the 10 minutes and he's only died like once or twice, I still think he's going to come in and pop off in a team fight. We really need to see how hard BRU can shut him down. And I know we've only seen them do this against BJD so far, but I think they're a team that completely understands how they need to play mid jungle to rotate up to the Baron side and just shut down a Baron laner.
Yeah, obviously, that's the #1 thing we need to look for in this match, is just seeing how they're going to handle that and see the rotations coming in, and if they're able to shut down Kid,
okay,
or
never mind, it's 6 mid. Forget it.
Okay.
Exactly. I feel like, you know, there's a lot of pressure on each and every one of these players. We're gonna see how well they perform in our first game of the day, BURIRAM United Esports versus One Team. Casters, you guys are up.
Thank you much to the analyst desk there, and yes indeed, we're back. My name is Skimmy. I've got TJ alongside me here to give us the spice of life that is Group A. We've had ourselves their introduction, and now it's time to see what these two teams can do at the top of the show.
I'll tell you what though, Skimmy, I am barely alongside you. You sent me on a mission to find a sweater just before we went live. I was running through my closet. I was digging things out. I'm barely back here in time.
Look, I was worried for a second. I'll tell you what, the draft was accelerating at a rapid pace, and I was seeing, you know, you weren't there, but we got here. And you know what? That's beautiful. The audience, they wouldn't have known any better had we not brought that up. But you know what? We'll go for the motions.
I only tell the truth, Skimmy. You said that we were here, and I didn't know.
Small white lie never went unheard of. But yeah, let's jump into this game. I mean, I'm excited. I think the analyst has brought up a few very valid points. The fact that, you know, the Renekton went over in Noelle's favor. But what I do like about One Team is that they do love this combo of the Riven and the Vi in tandem together. We've seen it time and time again. They played it to great levels of proficiency into the Shy from the Flash. And, you know, it was a case of, you know, ganking his lane, shutting down the opposing Baron laner nice and early, and allowing Riven to be that absolute monster come those team fights later.
Yeah, the big thing with Vi, I see a lot of criticism for Vi because she's in a kind of weird place where she's not a full-on assassin like a Lee Sin. Okay, I'm going to hold this thought.
Yeah, looking for the first blood bright and early. Here we go. One team on the aggressive. Not going to find it just yet because Kid falls on down, but they do get the trade. Both the junglers, right place, right time. The 2v2 top side nets 2 kills.
We might still be going here if Supporter and Shiba want in.
Yeah, this is a classic support if I've ever seen it right now. Loves to roam on these bruiser supports. Very proficient on the Braum. Goes for the contest, but they will miss out on the top crab. I guess you can obviously path towards this one here and make a bit of a trade, but a lot of action so early on, and we imagine this could have been a far slower tempoed game.
Well, okay, so this is a slow tempo game. What you're looking at is actually very low tempo. And I know that that might sound insane because we've seen a ton of aggression so far, but it's measured aggression. These aren't teams that are going to roam and lose waves in opposite lanes. These aren't teams that are going to try and early gank and early take turret. What you saw there is about the extent of what either BURIRAM or one team do during an early game, which is Janyo and Shiba are going to path into lanes, go for individual kills, try and boost their laners' gold by giving them kills, and not really aspire to much beyond that. That's one of the reasons, as I was about to get into with Vi, that you see both these teams go for supportive junglers.
It's a hot topic, obviously, as to why would you pick Vi if Lee Sin is available, but Janyo seems so proficient, so comfortable at it as well. Stock actually is nice and clean when it comes together like this. He's not going to try and make the play, but it is going to be Shiva that leads the line so far. Two-man Cataclysm underneath the turret, gets locked in place and taken on down. Now here comes Janyo, hits the full combo. The fist and the execution just not enough to remove Supporter, who has to burn double summoners just to get away.
It was the lantern. The Cataclysm was cast before the lantern was triggered. So it was going to be a very sane and safe Cataclysm, except for the fact that maybe he gets on the lantern and gets away, and then somehow Kid gets on the lantern early, and the Cataclysm is cast a little late, and Shiva ends up diving behind a turret, far too late to cancel the skill shot. Absolutely tragic.
So let's recenter ourselves here, because I mean, this really excites me. The fact that Kinemon is their usual marksman, playing the Lucian, brought it to the mid lane, looking to try and abuse that early game advantage into the Corki and shut him down nice and early. We saw this happen yesterday. We brought the Lucian into the Varus, not the ideal scenario. We got proved wrong. Obviously, Momo comes out and just says, "Watch this. I can make that matchup non-existent." But I'm liking this. The fact that Archie says, "I'm just going to pick range. You got the Varus. Let's farm at 10 CS per minute." Here we go once again. No Shiva. Looking to try and force that fight. Looking to try and get aggressive into the enemy jungle. Has no flash, but has a dash. Looking to try and go for the flash and take him down with the flag. They find Siu. He's gone. They found two. BURIRAM with a nice bit of aggression to start things off.
Yeah, that's the first real tangible bit of aggression for BURIRAM. They group up around Shiba and go for a 4-man full send. That's essentially the dragon fight. That's what was going on there. But they were taking the dragon fight very aggressively down mid in order to engineer a more favorable trade. I love to see that actually from BURIRAM. And what's more, they were doing it whilst keeping Archony round here so that he could contest Rift Herald.
The lone bomb goes out there for the Ziggs, trying to steal it away, but no, Janyo very careful and doesn't hit the smite button early, so they're going to trade themselves that initial dragon, which was the Inferno in favor here for BURIRAM. One team to pick up the Herald, but now a 4-man collapse on this mid-wave to try and get a very early turret. At the 5-minute mark, 2 plates gone, it's the Ziggs, the satchel charge, and it is deleted. So, bit of action here. I guess the benefactors have to be these bruises who split mapping and keeping turret plates themselves.
Yeah, this is actually an incredible bit of... Oh, it's still going for BURIRAM.
Yeah, they certainly want this one, don't they? 1v3, they're hunting down. Shiba opens up with the Cataclysm. They're going to chase them through. The Culling goes out, sidesteps it. Kinemon popping far too many turret shots to sustain through that. And the opportunity passes by. Bot side, though, and this is classic cross-map tempo. You make a play top side, it goes unpunished. Well, we'll just do it to you bot side instead.
But that's going to be a turret to BURIRAM. One team are going to hang around down bottom. I wonder if they spend the Rift Herald in order to get a turret response. Sure. Because if one team spend the Rift Herald down here, they are losing in the trade overall. They quite badly want to get 2 turrets down here in order to equalize on the map. And they have the Rift Herald, which should give them 1. But it's not going to get a second charge in this situation.
Yeah, they've just gone for the proxy on the wave. They've got at least 2 turret plates of the lantern out, so not going to lose anything really for that one, but I guess we're looking at that scoreboard so far. I've seen that BURIRAM are coming out slightly ahead. Now, that Herald's still a bit of time on it for them to utilize to full efficiency, but it does beg the question where they will go, and if it will be as simple as just dropping mid to try and match the turret that fell on down nice and early.
Yeah, so BURIRAM, don't get me wrong, have left this early game with a pretty substantial lead. But we're heading into a dangerous mid-game for both teams, and BURIRAM haven't done enough to me to knock one team out of that danger zone. Because BURIRAM are still going to come into this mid lane with, this mid-game, I apologize, with Via having completed Trinity Force very likely on the way to a Muramana. Muramana very soon to be completed on Ninja 7. So you have a ton of damage on this team, and they're just going to show up kind of no matter what.
Yeah, this is classic. This is bread and butter here for one team. They just target that bruiser all day long. The Baron laner just can't play the game. We know how good Noel is. Just not given the time of day.
This is where I was going with this. One team actually have a really good composition for 5v5 team fighting. They have a very solid frontline. They have an assassin CC team fighter in Janyo. He's not going to do a whole lot of damage by himself, but he's very good at locking down backline carries who'd like to be left alone. And then you have Bayer who can shred, Ninja 7 who can burst. They have the complete package. So it's really hard for me to look at the current game state, even though BURIRAM are very far out ahead, even though BURIRAM are about to get another turret, and say they have won this game, they're in massive control. I need to see what this Rift Herald gets here in mid, and I need to see this next team fight as BURIRAM burn their way up the river towards this mid line.
Again, Philibomb committed there to trim the wave and deny that Herald from getting that turret in the mid lane. It was the area we imagined it would be utilized, so they've held on for the meantime. They are utilizing this to great efficiency, though. That's what I'm really enjoying so far, is the ability for them to navigate the map, work as a team, and you know, run with Archie to say, wherever you go, we're guaranteeing a turret.
And Archie's been playing incredibly well this entire tournament. We had the stats screen up earlier. He's only died 17 times throughout the entire play-in stage, throughout the entire last chance qualifier. BURIRAM took the longest possible route, the maximum number of games. They played 17 games over the course of their qualification, and he only died 17 times, averaging once a game. I can do that math for you. So he's just incredibly good at staying safe and doing damage and providing value. Exactly the kind of player you want to hand a character like Zig.
Reliability factor for sure. You talk about Ziggs. We've got Twisted Fate up in the mix there as well. Champions certainly
he
offer
can't
the same
reach.
kind of thing. A lot of utility. Yeah, the Lantern isn't there, but a Death Sentence codes on out to try and prevent and deter BURIRAM chasing things any further. I guess the question is now, though, that they've lost control of this river. The Dragon has been engaged, second one, which could go in favor here for BRU. The fight breaks out, the box goes down, the kill is found. Noel is just destroyed. No dominance matters here. The health buffer is not enough to sustain all that damage. One! Oh, look at Kid there, flashing forward as the Riven stuns them in place. They won't get the Drake, but they will find two.
And this is why I kind of struggle to call this game, because BURIRAM are in a massive lead right now, but one team weren't at a point where they could fight, and they are now. And you see how that changes the way they're playing around the map. One team all of a sudden expressed what they want to achieve. They want to fight around this dragon, and they're able to do so very surgically. No, they can't contest the dragon from their current map state, but they could pick off Noel. They could assassinate the Renekton, as odd as that sounds. And they could go in with the Riven and find damage, see what happened. It's that kind of exploration and knowing your limits that really scares BURIRAM fans right now, because one team are such an experienced and controlled team.
Certainly are, and they've controlled this early portion of the game beautifully, whilst we were crediting BURIRAM for the aggression and the placement of their vision, but ideas of how they wanted to try and get this lead. One team who navigated it beautifully. I mean, we talk about the Muramana. There it is, already completed here for Ninja 7. He's going to hit that power spike nice and early. Bayer's been given the time of day to stay even with his counterpart, and that Corki is going to, you know, really pack a punch as this game goes on. And we have seen these flag and drags, the cataclysms, the wombo combos coming out, but no, one team are weathering that storm.
Yeah, and this is, Janyo back in 1v2.
Jumping in, yeah, contesting this enemy blue buff. The Mega Philibomb goes on out. That's CU dead, the first casualty in this team fight. Bayern jumping across very aggressively with the Valkyrie. Hits him with the Gatling gun, flashes across with the red buff. One more rocket would do it, Shiba, please. How has Shiba lived here? The burn's not enough. That is criminal. That's stupid. But they get away.
It's still a positive trade for one team. It's still another good fight and another good demonstration of what they bring to bear, as they've now equalized the turrets, dead even on the map. 3 turrets destroyed for each team. They've brought the kills back in favor of them, and now for the first time this game, one team have a gold lead.
That they do. Shiba fancies himself here, hits the killing smite relative. Hang on a minute, my AD carry is getting soloed off screen here by the Vi jungle. Now, this is what Janyo is so proficient at and so good at, is he takes those aggressive trades. He'll go for the 50-50s. It looks crazy at times when you got a Lantern. Who cares? He saw nothing.
And Janyo, one of the most experienced players in Southeast Asia in terms of mobile esports. He has a long record of playing, in fact, with one team out of the Taiwan region. In previous games, he played the jungle role, and he was very good at exactly that. Finding these little places you didn't expect the jungler to be and just setting up. And it almost doesn't feel like aggression because he's so good at just finding places and waiting for somebody to juicy to walk by. It's like a hunter more than somebody invading, you know?
Yeah, and he's taking those trades where others maybe not. And it certainly has been catching some of these teams off guard in the group stages already. And at times it looks beautiful and it does snowball the rest of his roster. And other times, you know, he is paying the ultimate price with his KDA going down the drain for that. But, I mean, you love to see it. Nothing better than a jungler player really being the engine on your team to get the ball rolling.
And that's one of the things that has been a question mark about one team that you referenced right there, is that one team uncharacteristically have looked rather weak in this bracket so far. You can see their record up there. They got really destroyed during their first day of play, and we didn't anticipate that. They should be tied with BURIRAM right now. They should be dominating. And I think their shaky performance so far, where they tied both Team Flash and Team Secret, demonstrates an overconfidence, and we're seeing that kind of course correction here as one team realize they need to take teams like BURIRAM fair and even. They need to respect them, and that's allowed BURIRAM to play a very solid game. This is BURIRAM's game plan as well, to play out to the late game, take each objective. They've now got all 3 Drakes with that last pickup and go for these late game macro fights. So we've kind of arrived here in the final phase of League of Legends Wild Rift. We've gone 15 minutes. Everyone's approaching their max build. Now it's down to the fights.
There's the package used here by Bio. Uses the Dragon. Will use it for skirmish instead. The Cataclysm to re-engage from the Tri-Brush into the Baron pit. And just like that, Shiba is annihilated. Down for 40 seconds. The Baron is there and staring at them, taunting them, if you will. And yes, you can play for that Mountain Elder. And with all the stacks that they have achieved, that will be a serious amount of mitigation. But this J4 just falling down like paper.
What a game from Shu on the Thresh. Everyone's been waiting for Thresh to come into meta, and Shu just demonstrating exactly why everyone accepts its inevitability. If you are mechanically skilled on this character, you could do so much as he finds another kill. He has been finding those death sentences, finding kills for his team, lanterning his team out, and here his efforts will secure 2 consecutive kills. And one team are going to start taking a crack at this Baron, leaving him as the bodyguard. They're just trying to force BURIRAM into this fight, and then they'll turn away from the Baron if BURIRAM take the fight and go 5v5.
Looking forward, Mega Inferno Bomb onto the 2 key carries. Beautiful damage onto one team. Now they're zoned away. Look how low they are, TJ. They can't do the Baron anymore. They're all blinking. They're all scurrying to the hills. They need to get back to that fountain. They need some HP back. BURIRAM have done enough, but I mean, great turn.
It's Kinemon, it's Archony, the 2 carries on BURIRAM, arriving in their trademark late game form, coming in for the team fight scrap, saying, one team, you want to challenge us to a 4v5, we will fight it and we will win. Excellent ultimates from both of them, the culling from Kinemon just cutting through the entire front line of one team who are running a squishier composition. This is the downside of Thresh. The Thresh can't soak up so much damage, so if you're able to hit him with the big Ziggs poke, if you're able to burn away at him with the Lucian damage, especially from the culling, he just melts.
A field day for executing key targets. And it's not going to be as easy as just getting 2 picks like that when somebody goes face checking from BURIRAM. You're going to need a little bit more firepower. Maybe now these players will start to default to the side lanes where teleport enchant would favor Kid. Bear in mind, Noel only has the proto belt, so he wouldn't be able to achieve the same amount of cross-map play if a fight were to break out and the dance around this Baron pit as we've seen time and time again. But I think we're going to have a bit of a cooldown period here now, TJ.
Yeah, and during this cooldown period, we just completed Infinity Edge, and we're starting on RFC for Baya. So one team are about to hit hyper late game Corki, which is terrifying. Once Corki gets to this like 20-minute mark, he honestly does more damage than almost any other character in the game. The other thing to flag here, builds-wise, is that Ninja 7 is going full lethality. He's just trying to stack up as much damage on those arrows, those big arrows, as possible. And he's built GA here, which is going to give him a resurrect in these team fights. That's going to be very important here because there's so much focus heading his way. Mega Inferno Bomb, the dive from Shiba. He's got Stasis, he's got GA. Ninja 7 is betting on lasting till the end of this Elder Dragon team fight and providing the final blow. Here we go. For the game.
Here we go. Yeah, I mean, this really is all you could ask for. This is what BURIRAM have been playing 17 minutes of Wild Rift for. And they're going to start it off as they've started off every Dragon prior. Now look at Kid.
Watch
He is
Noel.
pushing at the moment. He does have teleport. Bear that in mind. Do they go for the team fight? That is the question. Cullen comes out nice and early. Zig's ultimate still there.
9K.
Kid's not backing up. He's looking for the inhib. He's going for the back
7,000.
door. The Drake is still
Half
there.
HP.
Down to 50%. The fight breaks out on the flank. The package goes through. The Assault and Battery to try and remove Noel as quickly as they can. The Drake's still engaged. Hitting the poke. Hitting the damage. Looking for the kills. The fight is found. Shiba removes Zhan Yo. He's got no smite. They have no contest. This goes down to just pure damage. Can they try and
What
contest
team
the
are
smite?
doing it?
It's getting low. They've been removed off it. Shiba gets it before he dies. The inhib is still standing and Kid rocks up. He takes one. He loses his life for it. But BURIRAM have every buff in the game.
One team, their slow, brawling fight, wins the 4 kills in a critical team fight. But now it's a race against the clock. They need to end this game in the next 20 seconds, or there is no way they win. They don't go for the Baron. They just burn down the mid lane. And Noel needs to hold for 15 long seconds to save this game.
2 cannon minions there. Noel has to trim
10
this wave.
seconds.
Jumps in with the Dominus. He's going to pay his price with his life for this one.
5
The
seconds.
Nexus is exposed. They've been aced. They're unsure what to do. Look
The
how low their health bars
resurrects, they
are.
can't
They
end.
have to back away. The top inhib survives. They have no time to try and steal that one too. They could have put themselves in a bit of a checkmate position, but they've opened up the door for a BURIRAM last-minute team fight.
And I don't think one team can win a team fight. They have such a good late game composition, but they're playing into a 3 Drake stacked Elder. There's no way they win a team fight, Skimmy. And I'm torn because on one hand, one team played this team fight so well. Look at the way that Bai is just hovering at the very edge of the pit, throwing damage in as they fold all of BURIRAM into the Dragon Pit itself, but then they don't do anything about Shiba, who just walks right in and smites away the Elder. One team turn for the Baron. They need minion pressure. That's the only way they end this game, is
It's
through a
on.
backdoor, through minions. This is wild. What a game to start our day with.
I mean, I'm pretty sure this sums up everything you could make about Group A. These look like the 2 front runners at the moment to take that first seed spot, to get that bye round, to get themselves that best possible chance going on into the playoff stage. And we weren't exactly sure what to expect of these 2 teams, how we would gauge the strength. Was a team underperforming? Was a team in a form that is overperforming? But right now we're seeing 2 very different compositions executed to fine expertise.
Yeah, I mean, one team still, I think, looking a little out of sorts, but they hit their game plan, which is we're not going to contest the early game, we're going to arrive in the mid game, and we're going to win from there. But they didn't do it fast enough, and BURIRAM play around the objectives and just get rewarded for it, as they have the biggest Elder possible. But oh no, they forget their macro. They've just given Kid a free turret.
No way.
They've given 1-2 free turrets as they over-rotate away from the bottom lane. And now this is possible. If one team can manage the minion waves well, they can crash all 3 waves simultaneously, and BURIRAM simply don't have the wave clear to stop these minions from ending the game.
BURIRAM
how
with the
they
team
have
fight
to
power.
win.
They have the 4 Drakes, but they can't find the fight. They're trying to overforce one team, utilizing that Baron buff so well. As you said, 2 inhibs gone. Kid utilizing the buff to empower the minions, flooding the base and drawing all the attention away from the bot side, where 1 plate is stolen away. It looks like that's all she wrote. Another chance
Lord.
for another respawn. Perhaps
I
another
think
Baron on the cards, but BRU
Yeah.
are barely holding on.
We're just going to be here until the next Baron, Skimmy. Unless one team make a mistake, because they cannot push into BURIRAM's base. They will just lose. Did you see that Mega Inferno Bomb chunk Bai and Zhan Yo 2/3 of their HP, if not more? Like, they just lose if they take a fight. So despite everything one team have done, their only option is to keep hoping they can break with a cheeky siege, with a teleport into the backlines somehow, or a Baron. BURIRAM, in order to break this stalemate, need to either catch one team getting over-aggressive or win a fight around a Baron. All of that done without leaving their base open to a backdoor, which, of course, it permanently is now.
Once again, draw focus. There's only one teleport in this game. It is Kid. It is him on this Riven. Full build. Certainly a backdoor option can present itself. We might see that become a talking point when that next Baron pops up. If one team say, we can't fight this, we can't contest this, we have to go for the backdoor. Let's see how this one does transpire, because vision now becomes of the utmost importance.
It's full build for Kid, but it's a cheap full build. Frankly, he's gonna get outscaled if he doesn't sell some of those items, Charge Blade, for instance, and replace them with better top lane items. GA, for instance, he's just gonna lose on damage stats. We'll see what goes on in that inventory, because we are absolutely at sell your items, buy new ones territory. One of the builds to watch here is going to be Baya in the mid lane on this Corki. He's got his rapid fire cannon, so he's just gonna be looking to finish out on crit here. He's going to be doing a ton of damage, but I don't see him getting in range. As we go into this Baron fight, we need to be watching this.
Fight breaks out. Baron has been engaged. The dance is beginning. Look at Kid once again on the bottom of that minimap, looking to try and escort the minions in.
He's going to get that
hit
turret.
with that
they can't
checkmate
back in
situation.
time.
Absolutely, as you say, they want to make sure you can't go for this Baron. If you do that, we'll disengage. We've got the Fresh Lantern. We've got flashes. One are back on the Baron. If you've been drawn to this Riven, then you're going to come back to this one. Beautifully executed 4-1 so far.
One team are playing this perfectly. BURIRAM don't seem to have a handle on the situation. They need to force a fight at one of these locations because the super minions provide extra pressure. So they have to play like 1-3-1. As you can see, they can send Archony to clear waves as well.
Their hand. Are they right now? Shiva jumps in. He's been locked in place.
Teleport
The
in.
chains of corruption. The culling is there to follow. The disengaging way. The death sentence
This
goes out.
3v4.
That's what the target are after. The GA's been popped already. Ninja 7 forced to flash away. Kiddimon flashing on top of him, forcing out another GA. It is the battle of the revivals at this stage of the game. Kids grouped up. Forget the minions. Forget the split push. I need to try and salvage this team fight somehow, some way. Mega Inferno Bomb does not seem to matter. Kiddimon sitting on a double kill so far. His GA still intact, and Noel's on the hunt. Another GA down. Now Kid the focus swarmed by 4 members. But look at Baya running into the base. He's looking to try and end this game on his own right now. He's down to 20%. He's hitting the Nexus. He doesn't have enough damage. He can't do it alone. And he's got nowhere to run. He's got members chasing him from the enemy's base. He's got Kiddimon flooding him from the opposite side. They're gonna get ace. They're gonna go down. And they're gonna wait for another 20 seconds to somehow survive.
And Noel saves that game twice, Skimmy. He stops the teleport from Kid. That's the entire gamble of one team, is that they get a player advantage in the 3v3 you saw happen by this Baron pit. Kid's teleporting in, Noel stops that teleport. He denies the 4v3. He gets a fair 3v3 for BURIRAM, which they win. Then he's the player back in time to stop the backdoor from Baya, as he's the first player to disengage. And now he's looking to end the game as they crack open the one-team base and need one more 4-on-5 victory underneath the Nexus to win.
Here they go, the longest game of the group stages today. It does not matter.
Wow.
One team fight one, and one team will lose.